In 2003, the Lego Group, the most beloved toy company on Earth, was dying, and almost no one knew. On the surface, everything seemed fine. This was the brand that defined childhood for generations. In the 1990s, there were an estimated 80 Lego bricks for every single person on the planet. But behind the colorful plastic facade, the company was in a death spiral. They were hemorrhaging cash, losing the equivalent of over $1 million every single day. Their own 2003 annual report described the situation as very disappointing, a catastrophic 26% drop in sales in a single year. Insiders called it a burning platform with a very real risk that the entire company could collapse and be broken up for parts. How does this happen? How does a titan of industry, a cultural icon, fall so far, so fast? The answer is a shocking tale of ambition, delusion, and a single, desperate gamble that would either save the company or hammer the final nail in its coffin. This is the story of the mistake that almost destroyed Lego, and how a galaxy far, far away pulled it back from the brink.
For nearly a century, the simple snap and click of Lego pieces and bricks have brought childhood imaginations to life.
Lego's executive chairman told Bloomberg the business became, quote, too complex and started losing productivity and momentum.
In a business like Lego, where it's literally just one product, everybody works on the same mission. It's not like this.
To understand how Lego ended up on life support, we have to go back to the mid-1990s. The company was facing a perfect storm. The rise of video games was capturing the attention of their core audience.
I'm here for the PlayStation 2, the best entertainment system to hit the world. It's gonna be great.
Big box retailers were consolidating, giving them immense power to dictate prices and shelf space. And cheap Chinese knockoffs were beginning to flood the market. Worst of all, their target demographic, young boys, were getting younger. The age a child would put down their Lego bricks for a PlayStation controller was dropping fast. And cheap leadership saw the threats, and they panicked. Their solution? Innovate. Innovate at all costs. But this wasn't the focused, brilliant innovation that had made them famous. This was a frantic, unfocused explosion of new ideas, a strategy that analysts would later call diversification. They followed all the expert advice. They hired diverse creatives, chased new markets, and tried to disrupt themselves before anyone else could. They launched everything: jewelry, clothes, theme parks that lost millions in their first year, video games, even a business consultancy. With each new product, they drifted further from their core identity: the brick. Profits began to suffer from this lack of focus. They did the unthinkable. They doubled down, launching even more product lines, diversifying even further. And it was a catastrophe. To support this endless wave of new products, the number of unique Lego elements exploded, ballooning from a manageable 6,500 to over 13,000. The number of suppliers they had to manage skyrocketed to over 11,000. For context, that's nearly twice the number of suppliers Boeing uses to build a 747 airliner. The entire system was in chaos. Manufacturing plants were running at just 70% capacity. The supply chain was a tangled, inefficient mess. And the company had completely lost its ability to predict what customers wanted or how much it cost to make it. They were a premium brand with a broken, dysfunctional, and impossibly expensive back end. They were building their own coffin, one needlessly complicated brick at a time. By 1997, Peter Yile, the head of Lego's American division, recognized a fundamental shift in the toy industry. The US market was becoming license-driven. Hit movies and TV shows were spinning off toy lines that dominated the shelves. By the mid-90s, half of all toys sold in America were licensed products. Yao had a heretical idea. Lego needed a partner. And with Star Wars, Episode 1 on the horizon, he knew exactly which one. Lucasfilm.
For those who remember, for those who will never forget, and for a whole new generation who will experience it for the very first time. The Star Wars trilogy.
But when he pitched the idea to the senior executives in Denmark, the reaction was not just negative. It was hostile. More importantly, a core value from founder Ole Kirk Christensen was to never make war seem like child's play. The very name, Star Wars, was, as Yao put it, anathema to the Lego concept. The debate raged for 6 months, culminating in one of the most legendary quotes in corporate history, when a board member told Yao, "Over my dead body will you be launching Star Wars in Europe?" But Yao was clever. He launched an internal campaign, reframing Star Wars not as a story about war, but as a timeless fantasy adventure of good versus evil. He commissioned market research in the US and, critically, in Germany, Lego's largest and most conservative market. The results were undeniable. Parents in both countries loved the idea. The final decision rested with one man, Kjeld Kirk Christensen, the founder's grandson and CEO. He was a Star Wars fan himself. In a move that would change Lego forever, he overruled his own executives and gave the deal his blessing. The launch in 1999, timed perfectly with the release of The Phantom Menace, was an explosion. 13 sets hit the shelves, and the public went into a frenzy. On day 1, Toys R Us alone sold 50,000 sets. The financial impact was immediate. In 1999, Lego's global net turnover jumped by a massive 28%, driven almost entirely by the partnership. For one brief, shining moment, it looked like the crisis was over. Star Wars had saved them. Or so it seemed. The problem with tying your company's fate to a movie franchise is that your sales become entirely dependent on Hollywood's release schedule. And Lego learned this lesson the hard way. In 2002, with Attack of the Clones in theaters, Star Wars was a top seller, and the company posted a healthy profit. But in 2003, a year with no new Star Wars movie, interest evaporated. Sales of movie tie-in products plummeted, accounting for over half of the company's entire sales decrease for the year. They solved the problem of no progress, but created a more dangerous problem of total instability. But during this chaos, an unsung hero emerged from within Lego's own walls. It wasn't a Jedi or a Sith. It was Bionicle.
The Bankrupt come in swarms, they strike fast. Beware, if you wake one, you wake them all. Bionicle. 6 Bankrupt breeds, each set sold separately.
Launched in 2001, Bionicle was Lego's own highly profitable intellectual property. It proved the company could create its own story-driven blockbusters, offsetting the enormous royalty costs of the Star Wars license. This dual approach, high-risk licensed profit alongside controlled IP profit, was the unstable structure that allowed the company to survive long enough to change. By 2004, the deficit reached 1.4 billion Danish kroner. CEO Kjeld Kirk Christensen stepped down, injecting 800 million of his family's money to stabilize the company and making one final, critical hire. Jørgen Vig Knudstorp. Knudstorp, a 35-year-old management consultant, arrived and immediately diagnosed the problem. The company itself was arrogant and complex. His mandate was brutal. Back to the brick. He sold a majority stake in the Legoland parks for $460 million. He attacked the logistical chaos engine, shrinking the supplier list by 80% and completely rebuilding the supply chain. It required laying off thousands, but the process worked. By 2005, Lego was profitable again.
Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is awesome when you're living in a dream. So it has been a great...
Once the company was stable, the real value of the Star Wars partnership became clear. It wasn't just a profitable toy line, it forced Lego to completely modernize its business. The turnaround was one of the most successful in modern business history. Over the next decade, Lego's sales grew by an astonishing 900%. In 2014, the little Danish toymaker officially overtook Mattel to become the largest toymaker in the world.